Hello, I'm Jason Bradford, your host for Terror Talk. This is our very first episode, and with us is Jimmy Pressley, horror fan, promoter, producer. Jimmy, how are you?
Pardon, I'm good. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm happy to be doing this with you. I'm happy that you're my first guest on Terror Talk. And just so the listeners know, the movie we're going to be talking about today is a movie about a coven of witches who hunt and put children under a spell, and then they devour the children also that they can continue to live. And the movie is a Disney movie from 1993. You all know it as Hocus Pocus. It really puts it in a dark light when you think of it that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But it's all in good fun.
What a good, very good fun. It's a very fun dark light. So tell me, let's talk about Hocus Pocus. Jimmy, when was the first time you saw it? And what was your thought the first time you watched it?
I'm old enough to be ahead of most of the crowd, I guess. 1993, I saw it when it came out. I remember, I remember seeing it at theaters, but for some reason, I didn't go see it right away. And I remember it ran in theaters, I guess, from July maybe into September, and they got it out on video by October. So, I mean, I saw it in September, and then immediately my stepdad said, it's playing on pay-per-view. And I said, okay, we need to order it. And it was one of those deals where you could order it and watch it all day long. Mm-hmm. And we did that. And I literally sat there one Saturday and watched it from the time I got up till I couldn't hold my eyes open. It was just that it hit me that hard right off the bat, and it was just fantastic.
Yeah, it made an everlasting impression on me as well. It was one of those rare movies that the first time you watch it, you're watching something special, and you watch it again and again, and it just eventually becomes a rotating movie in your staple of horror films, comedy films, musicals, Disney, comedy, if I did say comedy. There's just so many places that this movie fits, and it's a very sentimental movie. You watch it and you're like, yeah, this makes me feel like it's Halloween again when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then it's got the best lines and the best costumes and the best cast, and it just, who's your favorite Sanderson sister? Or, do you love them all equally? But if you had to pick one, who would your one favorite be?
Well, everybody that knows me knows that I was a Bette Midler fan before Hocus Pocus. So, just strictly from music, I hadn't seen any of her movies, at least that I remembered very well. So, me being 13, I remember asking my stepdad, I'm like, who is the redheaded witch, with the buck teeth? And so Winifred's obviously the answer, but he was like, it's Bette. She sings that song you like from a distance. The God is watching us song, as he called it. And I'm like, oh, I said, there's no way that's the same woman. Her voice is so beautiful in that song. And she's got this, the crazy voice in the movie. And that's what sold me, is that she literally put so much of herself into that character, but she also just stretched in every direction, was just someone totally different. So, yeah, Winifred is my favorite by miles. Nothing against the other two. I love them also.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. They're all fantastic. No, I believe it was you who pointed something out to me, and after all of these years of watching this movie, it never really occurred to me the reason for Winifred's buck teeth. It was, and I believe you said that Bette actually had the idea to have those teeth because they eat children. She would need large teeth to gnaw through their bones. And, of course, a lot of people think, well, they don't actually eat children. They suck the life force out of them. But she has that line toward the end of the movie in the last act where she says she's going to have children on toast. You don't put a life force on toast. You would have to physically eat that child if you're going to put them on toast. So a lot of dark humor. And Disney was really big with some of their dark humor in the 70s and 80s. Have you seen the movies called Child of Glass or Something Wicked This Way Comes?
Yes. It's been a long time.
Those are pretty dark for Disney movies. You're dealing with a little girl in the 1700s who was murdered by her drunk uncle, and she's thrown down a well with her doll, and something wicked this way comes. I mean, the name of that alone is can send shivers down your spine.
Absolutely.
Because it's a warning. It's a terrifying title. And then in the 80s, Disney kind of took a back seat with the dark horror, and they became more family oriented with their animated movies, and their live action became very G-rated. And then 1993 happens, and we have the witches, the Sanderson sisters, and now all of a sudden we're back to eating children and living forever and hunting and putting a spell on an entire room full of people with the intent to kill them all by making them dance to death. Welcome back, Dark Disney, and welcome back in a wonderful way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Bette Midler always jokes. I don't know so much about Kathy or Sarah Jessica Parker, but, that's the type of movie she would stay away from. But that kind of darkness, but something drew her to that, other than the fact that she wanted to film something she thought her daughter could see. And I kind of question that now with the basic story, but yeah, I mean, she did it. She did that film, and
and I think what she did, and what Sarah and Kathy and that all did wonderfully. And this again, I'm sure this is a team effort with everybody involved, including the writer, the director. When you watch this movie, you don't get a sense that it's that dark or dreadful because it's so subliminal. But when you go back and you rewatch it, and you go back and you rewatch it again, and then you spend a decade watching it, it doesn't automatically, but after you keep watching it, it eventually hits you. Wow, hey, wait a minute. These sisters are evil. But they're so fun and lovable. It's like, when was the last time you saw a character, Disney or otherwise, that was that evil and lovable? And evil in a way that you didn't realize that you were loving someone that evil. I don't think that's ever happened for me.
It's never. I mean, and going down the road where as you're watching and you slowly kind of figure it out. It was a situation like that for me, where each time I watched it, and still this day, I noticed something different, and you realize exactly like you just said. I mean, it's amazingly light, but at the same time, it's amazingly dark. Mm-hmm. And that's what I love, because it really was so subliminal. They really pulled the wool over your eyes in a sense.
Yeah, yep, they really did. And then you got the flip side of the coin. I mean, obviously you can't have darkness without light, and on the other side of the coin, you have the light, the comedy, the lovability of the movie and the characters. Who's your favorite non-Sanderson character?
Well, it's honestly a tie, and this is going to sound odd, but I guess my number one favorite is he's kind of on the dark side, but he's obviously a hero in the end. Billy, the zombie, Billy Butcherson. Yeah, I loved him.
Yeah. The part where he finally got to talk at the very end, and he called her a troll.
Yes.
I thought that was great, and I still have the same reaction every time I watch it as from the first time that I've seen the movie. My favorite non-Sanderson character would have to be Danny. I love Danny.
Oh, yeah, she's great. I wish she could have made it into,
Yeah, and Sarah plays my favorite Sanderson sister. But Danny, I love her lines. I love her attitude, and when she says "Good evening, sisters," when they're at the museum, and they ask what year it is, and she says 1993. Just the way she says it. Yes. It's like, I think I fell in love with Danny at that moment, but
I did too. I've been a big fan of her since that movie. Also, I followed her ever since.
Yes, yep. So have I. Yep. That's the kind of movie it is. You follow the actors because you want to know what they're doing.
You do. It gets you. You gain interest because, to me, everybody watches a movie and they see it different, and there's a character that might stick out to someone where it doesn't to 100 other people. And Danny, for me, was one of them, and that's, I don't want to talk all night on it. It's just it amazes me to follow him and to be a fan for all these years and say, my God, she was really a little girl. Now she's grown and has done all these movies and a TV show. It's just like, really, is that Danny? But she's amazing.
Walking Dead now too, the series Walking Dead, which I want to get back to that in a moment when we talk a little bit more about Hocus Pocus 2, and her involvement or lack of involvement within it. But first, staying with the original, let's talk about some of these lines. I had mentioned Danny saying, the year 1993 and the way she delivered it, and Welcome Sisters. What are some of your favorite lines from the movie? And I'm pretty sure you can probably quote a bag full of them, just like I could.
Yeah, my favorite line, and I really don't know, there's just some kind of power to everything. I don't want to keep going to Winifred, but I can't help it. But I like it when she's explaining, there's two lines really, but she's explaining to the sisters what they must do to survive the nights. And of course, they're both kind of dumbly looking off. Sarah's eating a spider, and she's like, dost thou comprehend? And just the look on their face is like, what did you say? She's like, this, come on, we fly. And you knew you were in for a ride. Sorry.
Yes, and the way she's chewing her spider is also a good laugh. She's really enjoying mowing on that spider.
She did. She loved it. I love the sound effects, the crunchy legs. Oh,
yes,
God.
Yes, it would stick out of her mouth. Yeah, that was great. And I love when they put the spell on Thackeray, and they say the spell, bend the bones and twist the back, Capita Malika Mystica. And it becomes this chorus kind of musical, and it's really, really cool. It kind of takes you back to a kid when, and I'm dating myself here, but jump roping or doing what we used to call a Chinese jump rope. It sounded like that kind of a chant that you would do that too as a child, playing childhood games. It was great fun. Yeah.
Yes, I feel that too. I couldn't quite capture. I'm glad you said it that way. But I couldn't figure out what that made me feel like after all these years. But you're right. It fit right in with those childhood chants.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and I actually have a T-shirt. One of my favorite T-shirts actually has that written on there. I ordered that from Amazon. It was like I saw them. I have to have that because that was just great. And then
it is great.
And like I said, we can talk all night long about just the line. I mean, Mom's bat wing pie, dance until you die.
Yes, literally. I like the bus driver. He's like, take me a couple tries. She's like, we desire children, and that's totally an adult line that went over my head for 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely. or the cop with the prostitute on the motorcycle. That's definitely for a nod to the adult viewers there. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or chocolate covered fingers of a man named Henry. It's candy.
Yes.
Why did the master give us candy?
Because he is not our master. Yeah. There's just so many. I just love it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And Kathy's little barks like a dog. I smell children. A boy.
Yes. Yes.
Let me play with him.
Yeah. Just all those little throw-ins that you. Yeah.
Yes, he's a little leaguer.
I know. I can't wait to see the sequel.
Next year, we're Peter Pan and Wendy with tights. There's no
yes. I love it because I read the sequel book, which I think they kind of swayed away from in the film that's coming out, but it actually goes kind of through the house describing it, and there's a picture that shows him with tights on and her as Wendy. And he was Peter Pan. Yeah. So they kind of followed up on that. Yeah, I love that.
Good. I have to look that up. Maybe I'll put it as a cover photo for our audio interview here, so the viewers can see it while they're listening.
That'd be great.
Now let's get back to Thora Birch. The sequel, and I'm sure you know, but I don't know if the listeners are aware. She was actually offered a role in the sequel Hocus Pocus 2, and they tried to get her back. Maybe you can explain what happened as to why she's not in it.
Yeah, I remember she was doing a TV show. I'm not sure if it was Wednesday or some other show called Wednesday. I'm not familiar with it, but I just know that the filming was right when they were doing Hocus Pocus 2. And from what I understand, she was in a majority or a big part of the original script of 2. But because of that, they wanted to bring her back for a smaller part where she at least interacted with the witches one time. And I don't know the details on that either, but she just couldn't do it. And I know she hated it because
Yeah, yeah. She was under contract for her show that she was filming, and she was too busy and couldn't get out of it. But yeah, she was supposed to come back and play one of the characters' aunt, who was supposed to come back and help them fight the witches, because she
Yes.
finds out that one of her nieces lit the black flame candle and ends up going back to Salem to help the new cast, which I hope has half the charm and charisma that the original cast had. If it does, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. I was worried about with the way the times have changed, and the way they make films. Even it's like it's enough that they got the three witches back. It's enough that they got Billy the zombie back. But can they capture the charm, like you said, and the holiday, the essence, the spirit that film embodies? You know, can they do that again? And I just really hope they do.
I think if Mary, Sarah, and Winifred are half as whimsical as they were in the first, and half as comical, and half as zany and unaware of their surroundings, when you look back, it's almost like they're very unaware of reality because they're so stuck on what's in front of them and what they want. If they can capture all that again, I think we will get lightning in a bottle. It may not flash as bright, but I think it will be there.
I think so too. I agree 100%, and that's, I guess we'll know here in about a month.
Yeah, we will. I would love to have you back on as a follow-up episode of Terror Talk if you would like to come back after the sequel comes out and we watched it 5 or 6, 7, 20, 30 times.
Definitely.
I'm sure we will. We definitely would like to have another episode talking about the sequel.
Absolutely, man.
The sequel is coming out September?
Yeah, September 30th on Disney Plus.
Nice. Do you have your Disney Plus?
I don't have it yet, and it's starting to worry me because the reason we couldn't do a video chat here, as you know, is my internet.
Your internet, yes.
Yeah, I'm so scared that I'm going to have to watch that movie just in little segments as it freezes and almost buffers like the 90s internet. And but you know what? I don't care if it takes me 2 days to watch it. I'm going to do it. I mean, I'm going to get that subscription.
You don't care if you have to twist the bones and bend the back. You're going to watch it.
Exactly. If I have to light the black flame candle, I will do it to watch that movie. So,
well, you have kids, so I don't think that will have any effect. But you might still be able to bend your back, break your bones.
Yeah.
And Itchy Malika, and even a little bit of Mystica to get it watched.
Yes. It's fair. That's good.
But I appreciate you coming on and being my first guest on Terror Express, and thank you for inspiring me with your internet issues that you just mentioned. If it weren't for that, I don't think I would have a Terror Talk like this. So I think that, for me, I guess I can say I benefited from your internet.
You did.
And hopefully a lot of other listeners who would be interested in coming on and talking about their favorite horror movie will also come in and be a guest on a future episode.
That sounds great. I look forward to hearing what other people have to say about whatever topics. So yeah, that'd be great.
And again, I thank you for coming on to Terror Talk and talking to me about Hocus Pocus, and it's been fun, and I'm really looking forward to the sequel, and we're going to find a way for you to watch it without having to resort to black magic or witchcraft.
You got it, man. You're right. I appreciate you having me. It's been great.
Yeah, absolutely, anytime. Thank you, Jimmy, for joining us, and thank you to all of our listeners who tuned in to this first episode of Terror Talk with today's guest, Jimmy Pressley. Look forward to some more episodes with more horror fans such as yourself, and tune in every Tuesday at the witching hour for new releases of Terror Express with your favorite horror celebrities and filmmakers. This is Jason Bradford. Thanks again for listening.